All right, today we are strapping in for the absolute roller coaster that is Lovable. It's an AI coding platform that just exploded onto the scene, shot up to unicorn status, and then, well, it seemed like it was falling right back out of the sky. This is an incredible story of hype, hypergrowth, and a really hard reality check. Let's dive in.
So it all kicked off with this, a massive endorsement. I mean, when Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, stands up and says he loves your company, you better believe the entire tech world pays attention. You could say this one comment poured rocket fuel on an already blazing fire and really set the stage for Lovable's insane rise. So what was all the excitement even about? Well, it was this concept called vibe coding. And this was the revolutionary idea right at the heart of Lovable. The promise was, simple but totally profound. You just describe what you want an app to do in plain English, and a super powerful AI writes all the code and builds a working application for you. Yeah, this Swedish startup was promising to completely change the game for developers, for entrepreneurs, for pretty much anyone with an idea. So let's take a look at how they were planning to pull it off. You see, the dream Lovable was selling was just so powerful. Imagine an AI that's your full-stack engineer and your UI designer all rolled into one. All of a sudden, you didn't need to be some expert coder to bring an idea to life. No, you just had to be a good product manager, someone who could give the AI the right set of instructions. And for a brief, absolutely brilliant moment, that dream seemed to be exploding into reality faster than anyone could have possibly imagined. The growth was unlike anything the European startup scene had ever seen before. And this timeline really shows how it all went down. It started as an open source project, GPT Engineer. It was a huge hit. But after a couple of failed launches, they made this absolutely crucial pivot. In November 2024, they relaunched as Lovable, but this time with a new graphical interface. And that, right there, that opened the platform up to everyone, not just developers. And that's when things just went vertical. I mean, the growth was just staggering. Within its first 3 months, Lovable hit an astonishing $17 million in annual recurring revenue. To put that in perspective, they were adding up to $2 million in new revenue every single week. Just wow. And look, this wasn't just paper money. It was coming from real people. In that same short time, they signed up 30,000 paying customers. The buzz was that their 1-month retention rate was actually even better than ChatGPT's at the time, which is just wild. So all of this came to a head with a massive $200 million Series A funding round that valued Lovable at $1.8 billion and officially crowned it a tech unicorn. It was seriously one of the fastest climbs to that status in history. It all just sounds way too good to be true, right? Well, right at the peak of all this hype, the roller coaster took a very, very sharp turn. The initial magic started to wear off, and it revealed some pretty serious problems just hiding beneath the surface. Okay, so let's get into what users actually started experiencing. As soon as people moved past building simple little prototypes and tried to create more complex, commercial-grade apps, the cracks really began to show. This quote from a Reddit user just nails the core frustration perfectly. The AI, it turns out, was unreliable. It would confidently lie, telling you a bug was fixed when it wasn't, or worse, it would introduce new errors while trying to fix an old one. This wasn't just annoying, it was costing people money. What's really interesting here is how this visualizes the painful loop people got trapped in. You'd spend your paid credits to ask the AI to do something, it would fail, so then you'd have to spend more credits to ask it to fix its own mistake over and over again. People were just burning through hundreds of credits and getting absolutely nowhere. So this widespread frustration from users, it quickly snowballed into a public narrative that, hey, maybe this company is in trouble. And that negative buzz was then made much, much worse by a really serious security problem. I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Their web traffic was nearly cut in half over the summer of 2025. This led to viral posts all over social media asking the one big question, is Lovable dying? The hype wave was clearly crashing down. But the problems were actually bigger than just declining traffic. Security researchers found out that Lovable's greatest strength, its ability to easily create professional-looking websites, was also its greatest weakness. They even coined a new term for it, vibe scamming. It's how criminals were using Lovable to instantly create these incredibly convincing phishing sites.
And this quote shows you just how dangerous this was. According to Guardio Labs, the fake Microsoft login pages made with Lovable were so good, they were sometimes even smoother than the real thing. Lovable had, completely by accident, built what the researchers called a scammer's wish list, the perfect tool for creating scams. But hold on, what if this whole story of a dying company was just wrong? What if the drop in traffic and all the user frustration wasn't a sign of failure, but actually part of a painful but necessary shift towards a sustainable business? So here's the crucial point. For an AI company that has massive computing costs every single time a user types a prompt, the metrics on the left, things like web traffic, they're just vanity. They don't pay the bills. The metrics on the right, paying users, revenue, profit margin, that's what actually determines if the business can survive. And when you look at those sustainability metrics, a completely different story starts to emerge. While the web traffic was falling off a cliff, the number of paying customers reportedly grew to over 180,000. And the annual revenue? It climbed towards $120 million. So from this perspective, Lovable isn't dying, it's getting smarter. It's cutting the costs of free users to focus on building a better product for the people who actually pay for it. So, after riding this absolutely insane roller coaster of hype and backlash, what does the story of Lovable really tell us about the future of building software with artificial intelligence? Well, Lovable's journey is a perfect case study of that classic tech hype cycle. You get the peak of totally inflated expectations, which then followed by this deep trough of disillusionment. The real question now is whether Lovable and vibe coding itself can start to climb the slope of enlightenment and find a stable, productive place in the world. And that leaves us with the really big question, right? Are AI agents like Lovable eventually going to build most of our software? Or is this whole story teaching us that the creativity, the problem solving, the intuition of a human developer is still the most important feature of all?